Hello, hello. Hi, Chronicles family. Hi, Chronicles. Hi, Michelle Edwards Whitfield family. How are you all? I promised I was coming back. And look who I have. I have Dr. Elaine Richardson here with us. Dr. E. She made it. She was coming over the highways, folks. Hi, Connie. She was coming over the highways, and I was just really being prayerful because you know how things are. So I am just so glad that she is in the house. What can I say about this woman? Okay, so I know you all saw me a few minutes ago and I was talking about her coming and I was so excited. Hi, Bonnie. So excited to have her. I have to say, well, first of all, I hope you all did what I said. I told you to Google. I said, just put her name in there and you can tell me what comes up.
Bonnie. Hey, Bonnie.
A Ph.D. professor at the Ohio State University. You cannot just say Ohio State. The Ohio State University. Hi, Jeff. Love you too.
Love you, sister.
This is Ohio's soul queen. This is our lyrical, our lyrical activist. Did you like that?
Me? Yes, she has crowned me
The lyrical activist.
I love that.
I am telling you.
I like that.
Because I had the opportunity to see you in May in concert here in Cleveland. And let me just tell you all, and I know I am probably sounding like I am just jumping all over the place. That's because my brain is firing. Just firing because I am
Rochelle Brown.
Yeah, hey Rochelle.
That's a singing woman right there.
That's a singing
She don't know me, but I know her.
And let me, you know what?
Sister Rochelle.
I'm glad you said that because, you know, there's a lot of people who have accomplished things, and when they get letters behind their names, you can't talk to them. You can't reach them. They're not real. And, you know, and I know she goes by Dr. E. So some people may not know that that's for real, Dr. E. That's on paper. That is educated. That is Ph.D. for real. Because, you know, in today's society, everybody's, hey, doc. Hey, doc. You know, everybody's doc, you know, but I know. I want you all to know for real, done the work, done the journey. But it's still a sister and it's still a sister. And I'm telling you, she is reachable because I think we were communicating on social media for like 2 years before we met. I mean, it was like she was calling my daughter Nikki niece. My niece, I got to come see my niece. And we kept trying to get to each other's events and never could until this past May. And I tell you, when I met her, I didn't feel like I was meeting a stranger. And that's how she is. You reach out to her, you're on her page, you're on her website, she sees you. And just like she just said, Rochelle, I don't know you, but I've seen your stuff and I know you can sing. And I so appreciate that because I truly believe that when God allows us to get on platforms, it's not for us to get so high and lofty.
No, it's not about us.
So it's not about us.
It's not about
it
us
is if He has allowed us to survive, and we're talking about a story of survival here. We don't have enough time, y'all. I mean, but I tell you, but there are opportunities where you can hear from her. So let me first tell you right now, you want to get her book right now, Ph.D. to Ph.D. by Dr. Elaine Richardson. Is it on Amazon? On Google?
On Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Please go. Is it available for download?
It's on my website as well. So if they go to giveusfreerecords.com, you can get it there too. But the download generation, see, I don't have a download. So
okay.
They can go to Amazon.
So you can go to Amazon, but you can go directly to her website. Give Us Free Records, okay? And I'm going to get back to that as well because not only is she an author and a poet and an activist and an educator, she is a woman who takes all of that and puts it to song. So it's like, you know, when God created her, I truly believe that He created the gifts first and then just wrapped flesh around it. And was like, you know what? Because it's a whole lot here, so I can't create her first and then put the gifts in her because it's so many. So I better just kind of like tailor make her for all of the multiple gifts. You know what I'm saying? Because she has taken all of that, taken her experiences, and to see her, she don't look like what she been through, y'all. Now, if you've heard the story, you already know. If you've heard the story, you already know. But if you don't know the story, I encourage you because she is every woman. Everything that she has experienced will touch you some way in your life. You will be able to identify with it. You may not have gone the entire gamut that she has gone, because let me tell you, not many people have gone, and not many people definitely did not survive the journey that she has been on. So for her to be here, let me let you know right now, whether you're looking at the replay or whether you're looking at this live, you are looking at a miracle, and I want you to know that God has blessed you to be here at this particular time to be able to see and witness this woman. So I want you to remember Dr. E, D-O-C-T-A, Dr. E, or Professor Elaine Richardson. But you've got to get the book Ph.D. to Ph.D. and you've got to read it, because it's going to give you the tools to help somebody else. Because often we see people and we see young women and we see people in situations and we just shake our head at them and we say they ought to be ashamed of themselves and they was raised this way and they went that way, and for all of us, but for the grace of God. But for the grace of God. So when you read this book and you get this information, it is going to give you an opportunity to be able to share with somebody else as well as bless your own life. Now, I think I gave the Reader's Digest version of who this woman is, but I really can't. So it's like, you are a native Clevelander.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
You know what hurt my feelings?
What hurt your feelings? This gonna be real, y'all. So just keep up. Y'all need to try to catch up. Try to keep up.
When my CD came out and they did an article on me in the scene, and they put it online, it said former Clevelander. I said, now wait a minute, now I'm still Cleveland.
You still, yeah.
You are here all the time. Always be Cleveland. I'm always. I just don't feel like I'm a former Clevelander.
No, you are not. You are
Even
our
though I'm
own.
not here every day. I'm from the ground of Cleveland.
Yes, the blood, the dirt, the earth.
Don't get it twisted, because I live in Columbus sometimes.
What high school?
East Tech.
What's that? Rebels?
East Tech, Scarabs.
Oh, Scarabs, the mighty Scarabs.
If any of my down the way family, I'm representing for down the way.
Representing
55th on down.
55th.
No, even before then. I would say from what? 83rd on down.
83rd
on down. Cedar Central, Quincy.
Let me tell you.
That's where I'm from. Cedar Central, Quincy, down the way, East Tech. Family.
And she representing well, y'all. Let me tell you something. When I tell you she is representing y'all well, she is representing the mighty Scarabs.
The mighty. So you know something about
I know. Now I'm sure how I'm a Cardinal. Hold on. Show how. But I respect
East Cleveland
family. Let me tell you something. It's all Cleveland. I respect. You right. I respect the Scarabs. I respect you and what you have done. And so you were born, bred, and fed here, right? Right. Okay.
Cleveland, Ohio.
All right. Cleveland, Ohio. So tell us a little bit just about your background, because now you were born and raised here, but your family is traditionally from?
Well, my dad was born in Newport News, Virginia.
Okay, Virginia. Okay.
My mom was born in a place called Logwood in Jamaica, West Indies. Back then, they was calling it Jamaica British West Indies.
Oh.
That was the massa of Jamaica at that time. Okay. The British West Indies, but they got their independence, and so now it's just Jamaica. But but I grew up in Cleveland. My father was a musician. Okay. My father was a trumpet player, a traveling musician, and he met my mother in Jamaica, and they got married, and they came here. I think in 1950 something, 55 maybe. Okay. I had my brother, and then the baby.
Oh, you the baby?
The baby of the family, me. And I gave them poor folks so much trouble and their heartaches and headaches.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was because I did not appreciate myself. Did not know who I was. And when you don't know who you are, when you don't love yourself, and experience trauma at a young age, that is a recipe for disaster. And back then people weren't going to therapy for stuff. I don't even know if we knew what therapy. Only thing
because we kept everything in the house.
Oh,
you better not. You better not tell it.
See, don't put my business.
You better not tell it.
And you better go to church.
And you better not tell it.
And tell it to Jesus.
Tell it to Jesus. That was it. If you could get it, if you could get it out, yeah, you could tell it to Jesus, but you couldn't tell it to nobody else because you got to represent. You got to, especially a mama and daddy or brother or sister in leadership. That's real talk.
But it was like I was crazy, but I wasn't, but I was. I don't know if that made sense to anybody. But at a very young age, I got traumatized by a bad fight that my parents had. They only had one, but it was a bad fight. And I never felt good about myself. And I never felt good about my family after that fight. And it just led to being vulnerable, to be exploited by men. By actually, my first boyfriend was 17, but even before I met him, when I was 13, if a guy showed me attention and interest, oh my God, that was, because I didn't think much of myself. I didn't think I was beautiful, pretty, cute, smart, nothing. And so if a guy showed me attention, that was everything. And so that's why I'm such a advocate for working with young, 11, 12, 13, even younger, but I like that middle school group, because that is the time where girls are really looking for, they're going through the transition of, they call it adolescence. So you almost an adult, but you're not.
Too young to be old, too old to be young, my mom used to say.
Okay. Wow. But that's when all of my trauma stuff started really coming out. I got raped at a young age, and that had abortion at a young age. And all of that just set me in motion for feeling like an outcast, feeling like I wasn't good enough to be around normal people or regular people. And so being with a street guy or a pimp was easy for me to do, because it made me feel like I'm with somebody important likes me.
Prestige and
somebody important likes me. And it was basically me getting with somebody else who also had issues and problems. And I try not to demonize the men that I've been with, because they had also gone through some things. And if you're not careful, you will be, what's the word that they call it? Codependent. Codependent, trying to help somebody else do their stuff, and you got your stuff, and then it's two messes together, and then it's all messy. So, but that's how I got introduced to the street life, by my first boyfriend at the age of 13, and he had an older woman that worked the streets for him. And he wasn't necessarily a pimp. He was like a street hustler type dude. He didn't dress fly, none of that. He was 17. I was 13. He was 17. He had a grown woman working for him. And he also did a lot of other, street hustling too. So that wasn't his primary identity. He just was a survivor. And that's how I got introduced to the street life. And it just went from there, allowing myself to squish my values down and be filled with what else somebody else needed, people pleasing, thinking I had to be this lifelong girlfriend that was going to eventually be the wife, and so whatever he asked me to do, I did it. And so that was that got me on a very bad path for a while. And it's just by the grace of God that I never went to Marysville. I've done things that I've been to jail now, but I've never had a felony. I've been to jail over 200 times. I was with 4 different pimps between the ages of 13 and 24. And I've been in a lot of trouble. I did a lot of things that I'm not proud of. Mostly in trouble with myself and God, because I kept promising God stuff. I kept on telling God to get me out of this and get me out of that, and then I won't do it no more. You ain't gonna have to worry about me no more after this, God. And before God look around, I'm back again. back again.
We all can attest to that.
Back again.
Back again.
Still do it now, but not on the what I was
on that
doing.
measure, on that level. Not on that level. I'm not gonna eat that cake no more, God. If you just help me.
Oh.
We're not quite where we used to be. Amen. Thank you. We're not where we want to be all the way, but we're not where we used to be.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You know, when you talk about that age, because what I'm hearing you saying, and I think this happens with a lot of our young girls, they're not bad girls because people think that fast tail girl. And what I'm hearing is you had this heart, and even in doing that, you were running from some things, but you were like, but I can help him too. We can help each other. We can have his life of bliss. And the good girls think that way. That's why they can target. That's why they can target the good girls, because they can see the good girls. I got targeted. I understand that. And when you talk about that I'm gonna save me, but save you too. You know, we have have those lofty dreams, and can just get it can get gone. But God never leaves us.
No,
he never leaves you. So I'm listening to you talking about that conversation with God. You know, like.
But I wouldn't even say that I had, like, I used to, you know, like when you're young and full of, you know, everything, and you like, I want to be this, I want to be a singer, I want to be a musician, I want to be, you know, whatever it is that you want to be. I always knew I wanted to be a singer. But when I met my first boyfriend, it was like I just gave my whole self up. I just gave. It wasn't even like I had any. You know, I let him what he wanted to do.
Just give your entire
lead.
identity.
I let what he wanted to do lead, and then after the abuse sets in too, when they start jumping on you, and you lose yourself even more. I didn't really. I just wanted to please him, and. It just got worse and worse. Like I was just a vessel almost. And so that's why it's so important to fill young girls and young people with the values and the dreams that they had when they little kids. And they telling you they want to be this and do that. Even if you can't afford to help them do that, you can keep saying it back to them. My mom always did that. But that trauma will you know, make you vulnerable to emptying yourself of who you are. And I didn't feel like who I was good enough, and so I was taking on what somebody else wanted me to be for them. So yeah, I think it's so important to let young people know that the gifts they have are valuable. And you do have a gift. And
at least one.
At least. And you probably got more than that.
At least one, yes.
But there's so many things that are pulling on our identities, especially when we're young, teens and stuff like that. So that's why I like working with that age group, because it's critical to keep speaking life into young people and being there, being a listening ear for what they're going through, and being that person that they feel that they can trust to tell you things without you labeling them fast.
Exactly.
You going to penitentiary, you know, the things that we
Speaking
say.
word curses. Those are word curses. When people, and oftentimes parents don't know it. You know, you're going to be a drunk just like your daddy was a drunk. You ain't nothing. Those are words. Just like somebody can say, God bless you, and you are so beautiful. Those are blessings that you speak over a person. But when you say all those other things, those are word curses, because that thing saturates a child's spirit and their mind, and they just it's just like putting coats over them. It just, you know, and they're trying to walk with this stuff on them because they keep hearing it, and it keeps regurgitating. And I always say that middle school, that age that you're talking about, is like the middle passage of life. It's like the middle passage. You know, when they were taking folks from Africa to that middle passage where they either made it or they didn't. They either died at sea. And that place right there, because, you know, and it is true that too young to be old, they're too old to be young. And when they come from elementary school, my youngest daughter said she hated middle school because she went from naps and recess to, what are you going to do in high school? What are you going to do for your life? And it was like, and then it got very institutionalized. You know. So that age that you're talking about is critical, and I think it's very important that even if mom and dad or family can't get it, we in the community have got to be prayerfully aware of our babies. You know, how are you today? And just to tell them all the time, oh, you're so pretty. You know, I don't care if their hair's standing over their head, or or you're smart.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
you're beautiful.
Yeah, and ask them what you want to do. When you talked about that, validating whatever it is that they want to do, the validation of it that is good. Doesn't matter if mom works behind a desk. Like my daughter, I knew she would never work in corporate world. She never worked. Nikki, the musician. That's right. But that's not her.
Right.
That's not her calling. That's not her shape. You know. So yeah.
So you know that I had that like a tumultuous teen experience from the ages of 13 to like 16 maybe. 15, somewhere around
2 to 3 years.
Where I was with my first boyfriend, and he was my first love and my no-home. And so I was
wide open.
I got in all kinds of trouble with him. But he eventually went to the penitentiary. And so that is how I was able to graduate from junior high school. Yes, I'm that old. They used to call it junior high.
I went to junior high. Junior high.
It was not middle school.
It was not middle school.
But I was able to graduate because he went to Mansfield Reformatory. And, you know, I went to high school, and it seemed like I was going to be okay. You know, I was back in the choir. I was back in the orchestra. I was doing well. I was a cheerleader. I was in all Miss Ross's talent shows.
Miss Ross. Oh, she launched a lot of careers, didn't she?
Oh, she did. She did.
She launched a lot of careers.
She did. I was singing with my best friends, the Pretty Men Sisters, and one of my other good friends, Marva Newborn, and Danette Wilson. We were the 5 Shades of Love. And it seemed like my dream, seemed like I was living my dream. You know, we were in vogue before in vogue.
in vogue,
we were Destiny's Child before Destiny's Child.
Y'all were the prototype. Y'all were the prototype. 5 Shades of Love.
But back then, people didn't have studios in their houses. We didn't know. You know, the only people who had any success back then were connected to the OJs. And we had no connection to the OJs. And we were young girls, and our parents didn't have money. You know, nobody really knew how to promote us. And so, you know, I was kind of like, well, you know, still, wow, seeming like don't know what I'm doing, don't know where I'm going. And I went to college, didn't go, wasn't on the college bound track, wasn't in upward bound, any of that. Went to Cleveland State, and I still had this chip on my shoulder. You know, like everybody knows that I'm from the ghetto. Everybody knows that I was out there turning tricks. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. And that was just in me, thinking that I'm not good enough. And I had a lot of just low self-esteem. And eventually, you know, I didn't know where I fit in at Cleveland State University. And eventually I started hanging out with people who drank and smoked weed on campus. And I got kicked out of Cleveland State University.
Wow. How old were you during this time? About
18.
18, okay.
18. And when I got kicked out of Cleveland State, I was of the mind that I know where I fit in. I fit in with street people. And so I started hanging out in this after-hour joint. It was a very popular after-hour joint in Cleveland. And it was where all the pimps, the players, the con men, the stuff, that I felt at home around them. You know, it's like, oh, man, these women are so beautiful. You know, and I'm young, and they sending me drinks, and you know, and I'm trying out my mini skirts and my makeup and stuff, and I fit in with these people, and that's where I started getting into the succession of pimps. After that, you know, like you know, going from one pimp to the next, and just caught up in a cycle of abuse. just not, just you just taking a chance with your life all day and night, all day and night.
And you got forever at that age. That's how you feel. You don't think about time. You don't think about future.
And you don't even realize that you can be killed. Even though it's people getting killed all around you.
Right.
There's people getting killed all around you, but you don't think that it's going to happen to you. And I say, I was, jumping in and out of cars and going in and out of rooms with guys and all kinds of stuff. That's every time you took a trick, you could have got killed.
Wow.
And I was turning them all night, every night. So that's how many times. Multiply that times the 6 years that I was out there.
Wow. Wow.
And plus, the guys that I was with who were also abusive.
Right.
Could have got killed. A million times.
Ooh, but for God. Wow.
Come on now.
Wow.
But eventually, thank God, eventually, I found out about this program one day. I was getting out of jail. I went to jail a whole lot.
You said 200 times.
Over
in
New York, in Cleveland.
Across the country.
Mostly New York and Cleveland. And one thing that I didn't know was that my mother was calling the police on me. And all my mother's friends. Because by the end of my, the last couple of years there, I was really bad, shooting dope, really bad. And, I was turning tricks around the corner from where I lived, and just didn't have my mind. Did not have my mind. Didn't have my right mind. I had a mind. It just wasn't the right
one. Right.
And I was getting out of jail one day, and I saw this flyer about this program called Project Second Chance for sexually exploited women and girls. And it was run by this professor at Cleveland State University.
Wow.
And at that time, nobody, like now how they talk about human trafficking.
Yeah.
It wasn't no human trafficking.
Yeah.
You was just a hoe.
You was just fast. Yeah,
you was just a hoe.
Just a hoe. You was just out there.
And that's how you were treated when you went to jail.
Wow. No treatment, no try to help.
It's
no
almost
programs,
like
nothing.
when you think about Anthony Sowell, that guy that killed those 11 women. He was around, like the end of my journey. I'm pretty sure he was out there. He was around. Yeah. And if it wasn't him, it was somebody else. Because there was a lot of women getting killed. In fact, one guy that I had gotten away from one time, that I just caught the vibe off of him that he was going to try to kill me. And I got away from him. And that night, I was sitting up with some friends shooting dope, and they showed him on the news.
Oh, my God.
That he had killed a string of prostitutes between, I think it was between Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York. He had killed all these different women at truck stops and everywhere. But they didn't look for people back then. They didn't look for you. You was just a, throwaway.
Just when you showed up. Just whenever.
Especially urban, women of color. They're not looking for you. And they really wasn't too much looking for no poor white girls either. They wasn't looking for poor folk. But see, now it's just like the same thing with crack. When they infiltrated the black community with crack and everybody was sick on that stuff and unable to take care of their kids, losing their property, losing their jobs and all that, they didn't say it was a health crisis when the crack infiltrated the black community. But now that the opioids and the heroin
has no class.
We didn't call it heroin, we called it heroin.
Heroin.
We called it heroin. When everybody, when black people was going through that, it was just a black problem. Disposable.
Just
the Negroes. But now that, the drugs, opioids are taking people out, and it's in the suburbs,
across cultures,
and it's in the rural areas, and it's more white people. Now it's a health. Now it's a health issue. They're not doing a war on them like they did the war on drugs against us. It's the same thing with human trafficking. When it was a lot of that activity. I remember when I was in the life, Cedar Avenue around 95th to 105. Euclid Avenue, some parts of Chester, Prospect, Lower Prospect, all of that was filled with girls working. Side streets, all down through there, people was working. It was rampant. It was not human trafficking then. it was hoes, and when they got killed or something happened to you, you just was a dead hoe. Didn't nobody care about you. But Dr. Edwards cared about the poor urban girls that were strung out on drugs. And
this was at Cleveland State. He was out of Cleveland State.
He was a social work professor at Cleveland State. He was one of the first ones that was saying that, no, these are lives that are these lives matter.
Right.
These lives matter.
So he was on the first campaign of Black Lives Matter.
Come on now, he was on one of them. You know, there's been several.
One of them. Right.
More than several. There's been hundreds, but not at a scale that it should be like it is now. And even it needs to be even more. But at least now, thank God, you know, that we are doing that. But people just used to throw you away. Like you can't, your ear retrieval, you know, you can't be helped.
Be saved,
You can't be helped.
And you're not worth it.
You can't be saved. You're not worth it. But he thought we were worth it. And even though I couldn't do what he told me to do when I first started going to see him, eventually, over time, I did. Because they kept telling me, don't take the first drug. You know, don't get high. But my addiction, because it's all a part of the addiction. When you're in the street life, when you with abusive dudes, and you getting high and all that, it's all a part of the addiction. It's you got to stop all of it because it all works together. They kept telling me, don't take the first drug, don't take the first drink. And my addiction would tell me, I can at least do a 25-cent bag. Any decent person ought to be able to do, any normal human being, 25-cent bag ain't gonna kill nobody. And that's why I stayed trapped in that maze, because that 25-cent bag is never enough. And so now you off to the races and you shooting dope for 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, you know, until you go to jail or until whatever, you know, you get sick or whatever happens to you. So I'm running from my pimp. I'm trying to get high. I'm ducking folks trying to kill me, all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so it all worked to keep me trapped in that cycle of being trafficked. And people don't look at urban black women and girls and men, because it's men out there too, and there's also transvestite, you know, what they call transgender. Right. Everybody out, you know, that's in that life, that you're taking a chance with your life every time you go out there. And those are lives that matter, but people don't look at it like, a lot of people don't look at it like that. But nobody's better than anybody else, and we're all worth something. Else we would have never been made by the Creator, no matter how you got here, by rape or marriage or non-marriage or however you got here.
There's a reason for it.
You still got the Spirit of the living God in you, because with Him, we move and you know,
have our being.
So without God, we can't live. But anyway, it took me a long time to do what they told me to do. And once I had my second child, that's when my ears started opening up. I got too scared of myself to not do what they told me to do. Because people ask me stuff like, when did you make up your mind that you could get sober, and that you could go to school, and that you could do something else with your life? And it wasn't really like that. I mean, it was like, I was just too scared. At some point, I became too scared to not do what they told me to do. At some point. And I just started doing what they told me to do. One step at a time. And I was scared the whole time. One step at a time. I was scared the whole time. I was scared. I used to have dreams that I had a needle in my arm and my kids got took. And I ain't have nowhere to go. I had bad dreams like that. And that would make me stay sober. That would help me. Let me go to a meeting. You know, because my mind is not right.
Do you feel like that was God? You feel like, to put, because to go that far and then just all of a sudden for you to be afraid for your life, just to, you know,
One step at a time.
One step at a time.
And then God just kept putting people in my life, and I was able to get out of that cycle that I was in. Out of that trap that I was in. And I started going to school, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I didn't know what I was good at, you know, anymore. I just knew that I didn't want to go back where I was. And I just kept going to school. And I've been going ever since.
Going ever since.
I started going to school and I never stopped. And God just kept putting people in my life all the way till I got a Ph.D.
Wow.
And never thought I could get a Ph.D. Never even really knew what. I don't even know if I had heard of it. I don't know.
You just kept going, and things just started coming. It just kept coming because you kept going. You kept going. Well, how would you, for somebody who may be watching now or may see the replay, and they have a daughter who is experiencing what you have experienced, or they may not even know, but they don't know what to say to her if they still have reach of her. Because when our children are away from us and we don't have reach for them, all we can do is pray. When they're off our laps and we don't have reach and we can't get them, they're not coming in and out of the house, and they're just out there like these children sometimes are out here. So we pray for them then. But if they are coming in and out of the house and we've got a moment, to see them, that mother, so that child is coming in, they've been out there smoking or shooting up, or they with this guy that you're so afraid that he's going to take her life, but she's coming in the middle of the night. Or she's there in the morning, or she's asleep or something like that. What do you feel would be the best approach to that individual? Because I know our first instinct as a mother is, what are you doing out there? Why are you out there? You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be. And if your head is twisted or your head is not on, you either can't hear it or you don't care or because you can't care, so... what do we say? What do parents say? Or are there resources that a parent can reach out for, even support for themselves to learn the skills or to help, if they got to take that daughter by the hand? What do you think that a parent...
I always refer people to Renee Jones Empowerment. This is a woman here in Cleveland, Ohio, who has an empowerment center. And
Renee Jones.
Renee
Can somebody
Jones
type that in for us, please? Can somebody just type in the comments?
On Facebook. She's always giving
Renee
human
Jones
trafficking awareness, domestic violence awareness. And there's, Laura Cowan.
Oh, yeah.
Laura Cowan, Yvonne Pointer and her Positive Plus.
Yeah.
I refer, because a lot of young women contact me. Young women contact me, and, I'll, talk to them, and they'll say, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm ready to get out. And these are the people that I refer them to. But it's almost like, it is like drugs. Sometimes it takes more than a lot of different tries for people, because those behaviors that you're addicted to, the whole cycle of what you're into. And so it's not like, I'm going to go to Renee Jones Empowerment and I'm going to stop.
And I'm just going to be right.
Hopefully you will, but most people need more than one try.
Right.
And you can't give up on them. You can't give up.
Never give up.
A lot of people, I think what saved my life.
Let me hear.
And I'm about to cry because I get weary when I think about my mother, because my mother was diehard, not giving up on me. My mother was diehard. And like I said, my mother called the police on me all the time when I was turning tricks around in my neighborhood and stuff. And drunk, just high all the time, out of my mind. All I thought about was getting some more money, getting high. That's all I did. My life was going nowhere but to the grave. And every time my mother saw me, she would try to shake me up. And she would just keep talking to me. She was always in my ear. My mother stayed in my ear.
Wow.
And sometimes she cussed me out. Sometimes she cried. Sometimes she prayed. But she let me know
I'm here.
That I'm not giving up on you.
Wow.
I'm not giving up on you. This is not what God made you for. And my mother used to tell me will kill you. before I let a no good ass nigga kill you. My mother was deep.
She meant that thing.
My mother went through a lot. She went through a lot. It's like, it's not, you know what I mean? Now, perhaps someone like a psychiatrist, I'm sure that they have more methodical methods of what they would tell you to do, you know, like how to love your loved one at a distance and not become an enabler for them. Because some people might see my mother as an enabler because I could go home. Some people can't go home. Some people have burned so many bridges that, you know, their family don't let them in. Their family is ashamed of them. They can't come back home, or they stole from their family and they can't go back home. And I would say, even if you made that decision that you're not going to let your family member come back home, that you should always let them know that they can come home. You know,
when you get when you're respectful.
I'm here for you. I'm here to help you.
Right.
I want to help you.
Right.
But if you know, maybe you have to have some type of rules that, in order for you to be able to stay here, you got to do this. You know, I'm sure, you
That's
know,
understandable.
Psychiatrists will have like things like that they tell you.
But things from the heart reach the heart. So your mother knew how to reach her daughter. She knew how to reach her daughter. And I think as parents, you know, when we say, oh God, help me, you know, he knows he knows how to speak through us, and it may not be orthodox, and it may not be what, you know, society says it should be in a certain way, but when we speak, and it'll reach, things from the heart reach the heart. And the one thing that you heard was, my mother is not giving up on me. She is not playing with me. She's not going to condone it, and she is like, you are more. And when you said that's so powerful, you are more than this. I'm not letting anybody. So I think even if you're in a fogged state, something like that still cuts through. Still cuts through. Wow, God bless Mama.
Yeah, my mother was. God
bless Mama.
She thought more of me than I thought of myself. She thought more of me than I thought of myself. And I think that, you know, some people don't have support from their family. But if they just have one person, you know, it could be somebody that talked to you while you were in jail. It could be, you know, just somebody who sees some value in you and knows that you are worth something, whether you feel like you're worth something or not. I think everybody needs that, because I always think about, you know, girls who didn't make it, you know, for whatever reason, because they could have had people that cared about them, or that never gave up on them. You know, and I often, you know, say, God, you know, thank you for letting me live. Didn't have to. And that's why I tell my story, and I think that that's why God let me live. I really believe that that's why God let me live, because I really had given up on myself. I gave up on myself. But my mother never gave up on me. My mother never gave up on me. And then God will just keep putting people in your path. You know, God will just keep putting people in your path who will sow into you. When you take one step, you just keep taking a step. You don't know where you're going. I still feel like I don't know where I'm going. I know things that I like doing. I love people. I love working with young women especially, but also young men. You know, I have some young men who have reached out to me, but mostly, I feel led to work with young women. I like working with young women, and because even though it's different today with the social media and we live in a different era, there's some things that I think remain the same just because of the society that we live in. All these narratives that we've been given about what a woman should be, what a woman should look like, what a girl should be, what a girl should look like, how you interact with men, how people are reading your body, and all those things. I think those affect us deeply, and we need to interrogate those stories and fairy tales that we've been told about who we are, because a lot of that is damaging, especially that people pleasing and being nice and all of that. That'll get you killed. You kill yourself like that. You got to really know what you want.
Emotionally kill you.
Yeah. You got to know what you want and what you will accept and what you will not accept. And, you know, anybody can make a mistake because you learn from mistakes.
Right.
But the key is to not write yourself off when you make a mistake.
Write yourself off.
Don't write yourself off. No.
Because we're so concerned about what others think about us. And I think that comes from what you said, when we don't know what we think about ourselves.
And don't know how valuable we are.
Don't know how valuable.
And just accept, you know, just...
Because
I know me, I just wanted a man so bad. I just wanted a husband so bad. It took me a long time to get over that. You know, like, if God wants me to have one, I will, but I'm not... You know, I used to be like, oh, I got to get... Oh, I'm this age. You know, even after I got out of the sexual exploitation and the drug addiction thing, I was still like...
Validation.
I got to get married.
Right.
My mama was married.
Right, and that's what I was thinking. We go on the examples that we've seen, and this gives you prestige, and this gives you this in society because you're somebody's wife.
Right.
And instead of saying I'm somebody's, you know, instead of getting joy and fulfillment out of being somebody's wife or somebody's mother, just being me.
Right.
Just being fulfilled in just being Michelle, just being fulfilled and just being Elaine, and that, and you're right. We get a lot of that from we get from media, from television, from you know, it just feeds us that we can't even. We're choking on what media is saying that we should be. You know,
and we will accept a lot because we want that picture that we've created in our mind about, you know. But we never knew what people were doing to have a husband.
Right.
You know?
We don't know the
and
sacrifices.
most of us don't know, you know, like most of us have not even been trained in how do you date? How do you date?
And what is dating? And what is dating? Because the concept of dating now is
totally gone.
It's just they don't people don't know what dating really
they
is.
They might have not been dating in my days.
And I think people don't realize that dating. I was telling one of my daughters, I said dating, people date to marry. I mean, you date to build relationship. You know, it's like you're getting, that's what dating is. Otherwise, you're just going out with somebody, you're just hanging out with them. But if you're interested in someone, it's to meet an expected end, right? Should it not have an expected end? You know, it's whatever that end is, whatever it is that the two of you are looking forward to. But but so. So you got back in school, and something else you said, we were talking about, and we, you know, without detail, you know, talking about the experiences that we have, you know, as parents with our young girls in the home. It's important that even when we do have experiences before our children, and nowadays are different. Our parents didn't talk to us about things, you know, they didn't explain. Let's say it like that. If things happen, there was no, you mind your own business, you stay in a child's place. But even though the children are there and can see it, that was just a different time. You know, so it's like now I think to empower our daughters, if things are happening, I think mothers who have daughters really need to come out of that box and talk about what they have witnessed. If they've seen it, you can't get away from that. My rule for my daughters were, if you are old enough to ask me, you are old enough to get an honest answer within the confines I thought the age could handle. But if they could ask me, or if they had seen it, we had to have a conversation about it. So to empower our young girls and all the things that you've talked about that you were going through, I've always felt that God knows who would be a voice for him. As difficult, as crazy, as hard and debilitating it could have been, I just believe that not everyone can have this strawberry lane life. It's like in the Bible, it talks about when Jesus told Peter that he was going to deny him. And he said, oh, no, not me, Lord. Now, he said, yes, you are. But his final words to him were, but when you turn back, strengthen your brothers. So Jesus knew he was going to deny him. He wasn't angry with him, but there was a purpose for it. There was a purpose for that part of his life, for that journey, for that incident, because he was going to come back and bless so many others. So the sacrifice, as difficult as it was, when I think about your life, when I think about all the things, but he kept sparing you. You know, you looking at the guy on TV. That guy was the one I was just with. Go. You gonna say something?
No, you're right.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like
I was sitting. We was sitting up as drug addicts do, shooting drugs and talking about what happened. And I was telling them how I got away from that guy. This guy. I was talking.
You talking about before he shows up on TV.
We were sitting up getting high, and I'm telling them, this dude, this happened, this how I got away with it. And we sitting up getting high, and it came on the news. They had him cuffed up and everything. I was like, that's him!
Oh, my God. I mean,
that's him.
Your heart had to just...
I should have, but you see how that was just one time that God saved me. That's just one.
One time.
That was just one. That was just one of many times that I could have been gone.
But you still, would you say that you still had a heart for God, even in a month?
I used to pray when I was out there. I used to pray, and I used to ask God all the time, God, I ain't gonna get high no more. This is my last bag. I lied to God so many times. I talked to God all while I was doing what I was doing. I talked to him all while I was doing what I was doing, and still was doing it.
But that's why the word of God says that God looks on our heart. You know, man looks on the outer appearance. She out there, she doing this, she doing that. But he heard every conversation. He heard the promises, but he knew what your body was doing outside of your mind. He knew your body was craving. You know, your body was chemically changed now because of the drugs and all of that. But he's like, you know what? She coming out. And I'm just going to keep, I'm just going to keep covering her, because every situation is going to bless. So when you look on the scheme of things, and it's easy for me to say it because I didn't go through it, but when you look on the grander scheme, so this 10 years of your life, whatever the time frame is, how many lives have been saved? How many lives have been changed because of your transparency? How many people do we know? We don't even want to tell people that we don't want to tell people what we've gone through. We shameful because we got titles and we this, and I don't want people to know I've gone this. That's what was so appealing and drawing to me about you. Your transparency to help others. Like, think what you want to think. Say what you want to say. And you can't even say anything because you can't even say nothing about me because I've already told you who I am. I've already told you what God has done. The proof is in the pudding. Plus I got a Ph.D. Say what? You don't even know what a Ph.D. stand for. You don't even know what the letters stand for. Are you trying to talk about me? You know, but it's like when I saw you in May, and I sat there and I made sure I sat strategically at her concert in May. I sat dead center, about 5 seats back, because I said, I want to, I got to get the camera. I said, I want to experience all of this. And it was like the way you just wove this thing, this tale, and told your story with the music, y'all. And she's got the CD. I got it because she's got another event. So, you know, she is sharing so much. And I want to ask you all to like, share, and follow. Please go to her website. Please, will somebody please help me? Shelly, Yvette, Tina, somebody please type in for me, giveusfreerecords.com. Please, will somebody just type that in for me?
And even if you cannot afford to buy my music, go to my Facebook page and just like that. Inspirational Soul Queen. I'm the Inspirational Soul Queen on Facebook. That's helping me too.
Inspirational Soul Queen.
These days when you
you self-promoting.
When you when you try to submit to be on festivals or speaking engagements, whatever, the first thing they do is how many people do you have on your Facebook page? How many people do you have on Twitter? And all of that, you know. And a lot of people our age, I'm older than you, but a lot of people our age, they don't realize how much they can help you by. So, you know,
because a lot of people look, but if you don't like, it's very, very important.
Right.
You gotta like it. You gotta share it, you know. And so she's saying that even if you don't buy the CD, that will help you. But I'm gonna tell you, you want to get the CD because I'm telling you, and it's like it's got dance tunes on it. It's got stuff that'll make you move too, but the lyrics, that's the reason I call her a lyrical activist, because even in the music, the message is so strong. And I remember listening because, okay, I haven't gone the road that she's gone, but I was able to identify myself in her music. I can identify where I could have gone. I could identify situations that could have actually gone that way had it not been for the grace of God. Because see, she had a toughness in her. God had already created her. He had already made her for the journey. She was Ford built, I don't know, BMW built or whatever. He knew I was a Kia. I would not have survived it, but he also knew the boldness. And I once heard somebody say, and you are the personification of it. They said, those whom God makes, he first breaks.
Wow.
I heard somebody say that.
I like that.
And that you epitomize that brokenness, but look at what he has made, what has come forth, and the forward motion of it. It's like when Christ gave his life on that day, it was for the generations to come. So when he uses us, you know, it's like, that's why we have to be careful not to shun and look down on folks when they going through, because that's why it's called going through, because when they get on the other side of it, and guess what? And people remember too. Folk remember when you done treated them bad when they was down too.
Oh, come on now. And you know what? Let me just give you an example of that. So one pimp that I was with, his daughter, he was divorced and he had a daughter, and she would come to visit him some weekends, and I was there. And I always loved kids, and I always tried to, you know, protect kids from. Even when I was in my foolishness, I tried to
not let the babies
protect kids and, you know, let them be a child and love on this child. And all these years passed. Her dad is dead and gone, got murdered years ago. And I hadn't seen this young lady in years. Somehow she found me on Facebook. As a grown woman, she's grown now, got her own grandchildren. Has her own grandchildren.
Wow.
She found me and she said, I know you probably don't remember me. She said, but you used to be with my dad. And I remember I was a little girl. She said, and I always remember how nice you were to me. You were so nice to me. And I always loved you.
Wow.
And I was like,
even in that situation, even in the midst of
that blessed me beyond measure, that this woman found me and told me that I remember how nice you were to me when I was a little girl, when I used to come and visit my dad.
Wow.
Yeah, I always love kids. I protect kids. I don't like no, you know, because I just know the stuff that broke my heart when I was a kid. So I'm a person. I'm a protector of children. I'm afraid for babies, especially in this day where you can't hardly let your kids get online. You got to monitor everything.
You do.
You can't hardly let them look at a cartoon.
Right, because the cartoon's got all these subliminal messages and stuff in it.
Some of them are too subliminal. Some of them are just this is not for a child. This is an adult cartoon.
Right, and they're just like, this is today's society. The stuff that it's presenting.
I just saw something. It's on my Ph.D. to Ph.D. Facebook page the other week. A grown woman, friended a little girl on Facebook and talked that young girl into meeting her somewhere. Sodomized the little girl. Somehow they caught this woman. They caught this woman. But she, you know, so it's just, you know, it's just so much going on out here now. with the back page ads and all backstage or back page, whatever they call them, because they doing everything through online now.
And so for you all just joining, I got Dr. Elaine Richardson with me here, author of From Ph.D. to Ph.D., professor at The Ohio State University, homegrown right here, a mighty scarab, East Technical High School.
Can I just say this to you?
Yes.
It means a lot to me that you have me on your show.
Oh.
It means a lot to me. You ain't had to have me on your show.
Oh, my God.
You could have had somebody on your show that was rich and got paper. They got power.
You have all of that. Let me tell you.
It's out there. I'm claiming it. I'm claiming it.
Listen, my mom used to say favor, God's favor outmeasures any dollar, gold, paper, all of that. God's favor. So I thank you for saying that, but I am the honored one. And as I opened up with it, I was saying that how down to earth. So I know you all are seeing this, and I want you all to like, share, and follow, because she is living proof. Be encouraged about that family member. Be encouraged about that daughter. Be encouraged about that son. It reminds me of the prodigal son, where he said, "Give me my riches, and I'm gone out here." And he was with all these women and squandered his father's treasure. And his brother was like, "Why would you let him do that?" And then when he heard that his brother was coming home, his father killed the fatted calf and put his ring on his finger. And he was like, "Why?" He said, "Because my son who was dead is now alive." He still was loving. When you talk about your mother was like, "I still love you. I am here. I am at the gate looking for you." Never stop looking for our babies. Never.
Like how when we were talking before we came online on the show, and I was asking her, how do you know how to do all this online stuff that you do? Because I don't know if you saw the ad that she made for today's show. She had me looking. I was looking like I was about to come on Oprah and everything. The way she had that thing hooked up. And she said, well, I started doing marketing because, and I had told her, I said, sis, I saw you online. I didn't know you could blow. This woman is a boss vocalist, a jazz vocalist, sang with Caramoo and all that. But anyway, she put her career on hold to promote her daughter. So you are, just a fabulous woman. I love how you are behind your daughter and how you supported me when you didn't even know me that well. I just love, and a lot of people won't do that because people just feel, I don't know, some people have that real competitive spirit. Like, if I help you, it's going to subtract, it's going to make me less. Right. No, it's not.
Well, and I thank you so much for that. And we're talking about daughters. You have 3 beautiful daughters.
I do.
3 beautiful daughters, and these are degreed women as well.
Praise God. For the grace of God.
Women. So I am telling you, this is why this woman is so remarkable to go through all those things. And listen, you all just got a taste. She just kind of gave you caps, like little snippets, because y'all can't handle it all in this little amount of time. You can't handle it all. But I will tell you, you want to follow her. So please go to giveusfreerecords.com. Please get that CD. Please get that book, From Ph.D. to Ph.D. Can you please tell them what that Ph.D. to Ph.D. stands for?
It's Ph.D. Poho on dope to Ph.D. How education saved my life. And I must say that it took me a long time to get there to be able to write that book. It took me a long time. By the time I wrote that book, I was a full professor at Ohio State University. And I have written other books, academic books that you probably wouldn't want to read. Because you have to write an academic discourse.
No, we don't want to work that hard, doctor. We ain't trying to work that hard, doctor. No, but
it's like you're writing to people in your field. So, fields are specialized. So they got a specialized language that you have to use. Right. So it might be boring to people to read those other books. Unless you are into that kind of thing. If you're into black linguistics, or if you're into black literacy studies or black rhetorical studies, you might want to read those. Yeah. But
are all those on Amazon too? And okay, so if you're into that, yes. Or if you know somebody that's into that, get the book, give it to them for a gift. There you go.
But Ph.D. to Ph.D. by far has been the most rewarding book that I've ever written. It has taken me not only around the country, it has taken me internationally. Because nothing beats a real, authentic story. People might not have the same details. They might not be the same race. They might not be the same gender, economic background, any of that. But when you talk about the human spirit, things that, you experienced as a human being, and you talk about it authentically, you're going to connect to some people.
Things from the heart.
And it's been the most rewarding book so far that I have written. I've met all kinds of people. People have come up to me, because once you tell on yourself, there's nothing really that, a lot of people in my job, they couldn't understand, why I wrote that book. They didn't know what to even say after they heard about
it. Because see, they knew you as professor,
and
so to disclose and be that, but that's the thing about a calling on your life. It removes, it decreases fear. It makes you fearless. Now, fearless doesn't mean that you are totally exempt from fear. It just means that you have less of it.
Right.
And so it diminishes enough.
I'm scared now.
Yeah, but it diminishes enough because that it allows the Holy Spirit to push you so much. And for those of us who are mothers and have given birth, it's like that bearing down when that baby got to come forth. When that story got to be told, it's like you gonna die or tell it. You gonna tell it or die. You just have to get it out there, and you just have to do what God has called you to do, and the rewards are so great. So I just want to encourage you all again, giveusfreerecords.com. Okay, go like that page, because that is going to support her. But get that CD, and if you can ever see her live, you have got to. So I want you all to get your phones out now or whatever and put it in your calendars. I want you to put December 8th in there. Dr. E is going to be live at the Bop Style. Let me tell you who's going to be on the front row. I will. This is December 8th. Now, I know that a lot of times we think when we think of those terms that it's a long ways away. December 8th is not a long ways away. Honey. Okay. November, because we're almost at November. We're more than halfway through the month. We're halfway through the month. So you're really looking at like 6 weeks. Okay, and let me tell you, the Bop Stop is not that large. If you don't think the Mighty Scarabs is going to be in the house, if you don't think the Scarabs is going to show out, and let me tell you, I think the Bop Stop, because my daughter did a show there, Bop Stop is only like 100 seats.
Right.
So, but it reminds you guys of the front row. So if you've never been to the Bop Stop, it's like the front row. No, the stage does not rotate, but there's not a bad seat in the house. And this is going to be December. They've got a fireplace, all that kind of stuff. You want to get your tickets now for that. So I'm so sure that you can probably go online.
You can go right online to the Cleveland Music Settlement.
Yeah.
Cleveland Music Settlement.
Do you have a link on your page yet? Do you have the link on your page?
I have the event on my Facebook page.
The event on your Facebook page?
Yes. If you go
is your page public?
Inspirational Soul Queen on Facebook, Dr. E. It's the Inspirational Soul Queen on Facebook. You'll see that event on my page.
Okay. I'm going to put Inspirational, and if she shares with me, I'll go ahead and I'll share it, and I'll put it out there too. Okay. CD sales are going to benefit the East Tech Alumni Association. So please, this is going to be fabulous. The Donnie J Band, is that what
Donnie J?
Donnie J Band. Yes. The Donnie J Band is going to be I would hold this up, but I know it's going to be backwards. I know it's going to be backwards. But y'all see her with that mic? Y'all see that? Y'all see her with that mic? So I'm going to be pushing it as well. So y'all will see it. I will be pushing that as well. But tickets are only $15 and $20 at the door. So just go on and get it, because you don't want to miss it. I'm going to get my ticket today, because I know them Scarabs is going to struggle.
Ooh, and another thing too. Please, if you can, don't wait till the last minute.
Oh, they're going to be gone if they wait.
One thing that people don't that's okay. Well, we just gonna speak that.
Yeah. They are.
We putting that in the universe.
They're gonna be gone.
They're gonna be gone.
If you
and you gonna miss me in my element.
And let me tell you something,
don't miss it.
Let me tell you something about the element, honey. The element is fierce. Let me tell you something. She is our own soul queen, Ohio soul queen. And tonight she is an inspirational soul queen. And she is actually here tonight. I'm so glad that she took time. She came off the road, came in here, because just in probably like another hour and a half or so. Yeah, she's only got like 2 hours. She's actually speaking tonight because this is also, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Night, a month, but it is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so, as I said about breast cancer, it's a month for you if you don't have it, but it's an every day, hour, minute, second for those who do. And same thing with domestic violence. I have been a victim of domestic violence, so I know what that is. And when you're living in that, it's like nobody knows, and it has no class. It's not like poor people or rich people or middle class. It's just people, and you never know who's going through something or what they're going through. So we need to be educated to be able to tell the signs. I know at one time they had that thing where people could put a black circle in the middle of in the palm of their hand, and so and they were trying to get this movement. I don't know how big it is, but I remember seeing it. And so if someone comes into a store and they show the palm of their hand, they're giving you a sign that they are being abused and they're with their abuser and they want help. So, these are things that we need to learn and empower ourselves. Don't wait until you're just the victim. We're here together. We're not nomads. We don't live independent of each other. We are here as a society, and we as women have got to help each other, because if it's not you, it could be your daughter. It could be anybody, your friend, your mother, your sister, your niece, your cousin, whomever. So she is also here. She's going to be running to share again her story. Can you imagine how taxing it is as well, that you have to keep digging deep to share your story? But she does that because she understands her calling. She understands what it is that she understands, and is grateful to God for keeping her through that. So she knows that she has to tell the story. So I am asking you all, please support Dr. E. Go to Give Us Free Records. I'm going to put all the stuff on there so you all can just click, because I asked y'all to just type that in for me and nobody did it for me. But I know you still love me. I know you still love me. Nobody did it. So Give Us Free Records, Dr. E, Dr. Elaine Richardson. Look her up on Facebook. Go ahead, like her page. Do not forget to like, share, and follow the Chronicles page. The replay will be on here. But please share this. If you missed the beginning of this interview, I'm going to ask you to please share it with someone. Send it via Messenger. Put it on their page. Get that book, From Ph.D. to Ph.D. on Amazon. Support this sister who is doing a great work for the Lord. She is doing a great work in our community, and she is an awesome entertainer. I mean, an international author, internationally traveled. I remember I woke up one Sunday morning, you were sitting on the bench in London or Australia or something. I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh, that was Germany.
Germany, right, in Germany. So just also be encouraged to know that you have a story as well. And don't let the enemy stifle your story because you don't know who you can help. So no, you may not travel the globe. You may not be on stages and screens and have books. But you know what? You may be at a bus stop and God may move on your heart. A conversation starts, or you could see something in a young lady. You're like, how you doing today? And they just need somebody to share that story. I'm sure she was sitting at bus stops sometimes, but somebody would just say, daughter, what's going on, baby? What's going on? Let me pray for you. When you see people, you don't even have to touch them or see them to pray for them. God help them. When I see young women on the street, I'm going through East Cleveland, I see them walking, I was like, God, get them off the street. God help them. Show them the light. Let somebody who they will listen to. So that is us today. Dr. E, thank you so much, my sister. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for running in off the highway. She drove all the way up here from Columbus, and I am just so grateful to bring you stories like this, to bring you empowerment and enrichment. It is that serious to me. I believe in Chronicles. I believe it is the story of our lives. That's what Chronicles is. It is the stories of our lives, and we've got to tell our stories because it will help somebody else. If each one reaches one, this can be a better world. You may save a life. Thank you again, Dr. Richardson. Thank you, Dr. E. So glad to be here. I want to thank my audience. Thank you so much for coming on in today. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking, and thank you for following. God bless you all. Have a good day.
God bless you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.